A stampede during one of the last rituals of the Hajj season, the annual Islamic pilgrimage to Mecca, has killed more than 453 people and injured 719 others in Saudi Arabia. The stampede occurred Thursday during the ritual known as stoning the devil in the tent city of Mina, about 2 miles from Mecca, Islam's holiest city. In the ritual, crowds of pilgrims throw stones at 3 pillars in a reenactment of an event when the Prophet Abraham stoned the devil and rejected his temptations according to Muslim traditions. The stoning ritual is done over at least 2 days, where pilgrims stone the 3 pillars at Mina, believed to be where the devil was stoned when he tried to dissuade Abraham from obeying God's orders to slaughter his son. A 7-magnitude earthquake struck off the coast of Kyushu in southwestern Japan on Saturday, triggering a minor tsunami in the southern part of Kagoshima, reports said. The strong earthquake jolted about 160 kilometers southwest of Makurazaki, Kagoshima at 5:51 a.m. local time at a depth of about 10 kilometers, according to the Japan Meteorological Agency (JMA). A 30-centimeter tsunami was observed on the Nakano-shima Island about an hour after the quake. A tsunami warning issued after the quake was lifted. The JMA said that aftershocks with the seismic intensity of 3 on the JMA scale might happen in the following week. A gunfight between 2 groups erupted on Sunday in a New Orleans park where hundreds of people were gathered for a block party and the filming of a music video, leaving 16 people wounded, police said. Circumstances surround the shooting in the city's Upper Ninth Ward and details of what precipitated the violence was not immediately clear, but New Orleans Police Department spokesman Tyler Gamble told Reuters no fatalities were reported. Asked whether gang activity was thought to be involved, Gamble said it was still too soon to say. We know by speaking with some of the victims that there were 2 groups of people shooting at each other, Gamble said. 4 airports in Indonesia were shut on Friday due to an ash cloud from a volcanic eruption in East Java. According to the country's flag carrier, Garuda Indonesia, Bali's Denpasar International Airport and 3 others in Lombok, Jember and Banyuwangi were closed down. Due to Mount Raung eruption, airport closure is only applied for Bali, Lombok, Banyuwangi and Jember, while others are still operating normally, the airlines tweeted. Mount Raung is one of the most active volcanoes in Indonesia's Java island. It erupted on July 2nd, forcing the cancellation of a number of flights to Australia. All flights flying to and from Bali, Lombok, Jember and Banyuwangi are cancelled today until 10 p.m. or further notice, Garuda Indonesia tweeted. Jihadists launched a shooting rampage in the Radisson Blu Hotel in the center of the Malian capital, Bamako, on Friday, security sources said. Automatic weapons fire could be heard from outside the 190-room hotel, where security forces have set up a security cordon. It's all happening on the 7th floor. Jihadists are firing in the corridor, a security source said. 4 soldiers, 5 UN workers and 4 attackers were killed.
प्रॉब्लम्स क्या है, हम अभी जो हॉस्पिटल में जा नहीं सकता, आ भी नहीं सकता. अभी जो काल से इधर काल से जो इधर जो बिजली का तार है ना, वो ब्लास्ट हो गया. ब्लास्ट होकर अभी कारण भी नहीं है. आज भी कारण नहीं है. कल 12 बजे तक कारण नहीं है. अभी कारण का प्रॉब्लम है, पानी का प्रॉब्लम है, बाहर आ नहीं सकता, इसको अंदर से बाहर आ ही नहीं सकता. कोई खाना का प्रॉब्लम हो गया, बहुत सारे प्रॉब्लम हो गए. अभी सब बंद है, इधर सब बंद हो गया.
भाई ये तो सिटी सेंटर में है, आपको कोई कॉर्पोरेशन के लोग या कोई लोकल पुलिस या फायर डिपार्टमेंट कोई भी आया यहाँ से गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से?
कोई भी नहीं आया, कोई भी नहीं आया. इधर पूछने भी कोई भी नहीं आया. इधर
अनदर लोकल रेसिडेंट, आपका नाम क्या है?
मेरा नाम सागर है भैया, ऑटो वाला, इधर लोकल मकीस गार्डन का ऑटो वाला.
ओके.
कि मेरा का 20 दिन का था, पूरा बारिश मार रहा है. कुछ प्रॉब्लम नहीं होगा था, कुछ में आएगा था, चावल भी नहीं देगा देगा था, पूरा नहीं देगा था। कितना पानी है, मेरा कितना बच्चा का पानी देखो, कितना गुस्सा होगा था, मेरा क्या क्या करेगा। ये थोड़ा बड़ा और वो छोटा भी घर में था, वो बाहर से निकल के आ सकता, इधर से वोट भी नहीं सकता था। दूध का प्रॉब्लम है, कोई भी का प्रॉब्लम है था।
गवर्नमेंट
कुछ नहीं आएगा, गवर्नमेंट का कुछ नहीं आएगा।
The worst floods in several decades. There are hundreds of people still stranded and on a war footing. The Air Force, the Army and the NDRF are planning efforts. The NDMA has been constantly in touch with the Cabinet Secretary. We are told that there's a high-level meeting that's been called at 12:30. Joining me at this moment to give more details here on Times Now is the Director General Meteorology of India Meteorological Department. Sir, Mr. Rathore, if you can tell our viewers what is the situation at this moment developing, because there is some amount of lack of information as to what should people really do. Do we expect more further rains, because rains haven't really stopped at this moment?
Well, intermittent heavy to very heavy, rather at smaller locations, extremely heavy rainfall have been occurring for quite some time. And if we look at the history during the years when we have a strong El Nino, normally northeast monsoon is vigorous. And at the beginning of season, forecast was issued, long range forecast issued by India Meteorological Department indicated that monsoon is going to be above normal. Right. And that apart, in our medium range forecast, we have been constantly intimating the forecast of these extreme heavy rainfall episodes. As of the current, the situation is that the today rainfall which has been recorded in the extreme northern Tamil Nadu, particularly the Chennai and the adjoining area, is around 35 centimeter rainfall, 30 to 35 centimeter, and that has really caused havoc because of the water not getting way through runoff, particularly in low-lying areas. And the rainfall is likely to continue. As a matter of fact, though its intensity might decrease after 48 hours, further by 72 hours, but it is likely to continue for 5, 6, 7 days. And that means that even the light and moderate rainfall under a situation when there is already the ground is saturated, or rather super saturated, we need to exercise due care going to the low-lying areas, and also traveling by surface through those roads which are falling in the inundated area.
So that's what my next question would be, because people are concerned. You know, we have been getting SOS calls from hundreds and hundreds of people. There are efforts on from the Air Force and the Army and the NDRF also. What would you recommend? Because you know the pattern of the rainfall, the pattern of the flooding that has occurred in the region. We saw similar situation in Kashmir last year, similar situation in Odisha as well. But sir, what would be the top priority for the people? What would you recommend?
The situation in Tamil Nadu is entirely different than Kashmir or the rainfall which are associated with cyclones like Hudud or Falin. Right. This is a fairly widespread area, starting from south coastal Andhra Pradesh, even interior part of Rayalaseema, the entire Tamil Nadu coast, and southern tip of Kerala also is going to get fairly widespread rainfall, with episodic heavy to very heavy rainfall occurring at isolated pockets. So the best thing is to watch the forecast and watch the alert issued by various agencies, and to cope up with the situation. Home Secretary has just now taken a meeting to augment the efforts being made by the state government, and the Cabinet Secretary is again taking meetings of Crisis Management Committee, and we will further review the situation.
Indian Navy is sending INS Airawat with an integrated helicopter from Vizag for rescue and relief for those affected in the floods there in Chennai and around the city.
Places, senior citizens, children, they're all been asked to go to safer places because of the rising levels of water over here. Like I mentioned earlier, the water level was not as much as it is right now when we came here about 2 hours ago or 2.5 hours ago. And but because of the water level rising and because of the increase in force, the fire personnel and police are suspecting, or they are expecting the walls to give away. We already saw an entire wall fall apart in this very same road. This road completely leads to places like Adayar and Gindi and towards the airport as well.
वैसे आज के लगभग एक सप्ताह पहले हमारी वहाँ के चीफ मिनिस्टर सुश्री जयललिता जी से बात हुई थी और उनसे मैंने कहा था कि जिस भी प्रकार के सहयोग की आवश्यकता हो हम सहयोग करने को तैयार हैं। वैसे वहाँ पर आर्मी भी लगी है, नेवल फोर्स भी लगी है और साथ ही साथ हमारी एनडीआरएफ की टीम भी पर्याप्त मात्रा में वहाँ पहुँच गई है। निश्चित रूप से स्थिति बहुत ही चिंताजनक है और कल हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जी ने भी स्वयं जयललिता जी से बात करके सारी स्थिति की जानकारी वहाँ ली है और उन्हें आश्वस्त किया है प्रधानमंत्री जी ने कि हम हर प्रकार की मदद करने को पूरी तरह से तैयार हैं। वैसे उनकी तरफ से एक मेमोरेंडम भी आया है हमारे गृह मंत्रालय में और हम लोगों ने अपनी सेंट्रल टीम वहाँ भेज दी है सिचुएशन को एसेस करने के लिए और रिपोर्ट देने के लिए, ताकि जो भी संभव हो वो आर्थिक सहायता भी उनको मुहैया कराई जा सके।
The deadly attacks across the city of Paris on Saturday morning have claimed 150 lives so far. Paris was rocked by explosions and a shootout early Saturday morning across 7 different locations in the city. US security officials believe it to be a coordinated attack. Around 150 have been killed in 7 separate attacks across Paris, while around 100 people have been killed in Bataclan concert venue. 40 died in other locations. 3 attackers have been killed. One of the attack sites is the Le Petit Camboge restaurant in the 10th arrondissement. Another is near the Stade de France. A third site is believed to be a Paris concert hall, the Bataclan. Shooting has also been reported in Lee Halls in the center of Paris and in a restaurant by Bastille in Rue de Charonne. No one has claimed responsibility for the attack till now. According to reports, the gunman shouted, "It's for Syria and Allahu Akbar." French President François Hollande has declared state of emergency across the country and ordered the borders to be closed. The President and the Home Minister held an emergency meeting before Hollande travelled to Bataclan. He has declared a state of emergency in the whole of France, the first since 1958, and closed its borders. The Paris metro is also shut. The President has also cancelled his participation to this weekend's G20 meeting in Turkey.